Let's interrupt our conversation with Major Garrett and take you now to the Pentagon, where President Trump is arriving for a closed meeting with the senior military leadership. He is expected to make a statement at the Pentagon. And
we don't know what he'll be talking about, though. But there are a number of different things to choose from.
There's so much that he could talk about. He could talk about the Chief of Staff, John Kelly, appearing on Fox News, and in an article that was written by the Washington Post, Ed O'Keefe, suggesting that the president's views on the wall have evolved, and that he was uninformed when he was a candidate for the presidency when it came to the discussion around immigration. He can talk about the government potentially shutting down on Friday. He can talk about where he stands on DACA and where he stands on a number of issues.
Immigration
reform, etc.
Funding the military, all the things attached to that bill.
Well, we know that the president has tweeted that he thinks Democrats don't care about the military. Here he is. You see Vice President Mike Pence there with him. There you see Chief of Staff Kelly. Let's listen.
Generals, we're here to support our country's military. If the country shuts down, which could very well be, the budget should be handled a lot differently than it's been handled over the last long period of time, many years. But if for any reason it shuts down, the worst thing is what happens to our military. We're rebuilding our military. We're bringing it to a level that it's never been at. And the worst thing is for our military. We don't want that to happen. I'm here to support our military. Our military has to be the best in the world by far. And as you know, it's been depleted over the last long period of time. And when we finish, there won't be anything like it. We need that now almost more than at any time in the past. So I'm here for our military. I'm here to support our great and very powerful military, and we're going to keep it that way, but we're going to make it much better, and that's what we're doing. It also means jobs. You see what's happening with respect to jobs. You see what happened yesterday, Apple, and now it was just announced that they're giving each employee a lot of money. So our tax cuts and our tax reform has turned out to be far greater than anybody ever anticipated, and I'm sure the Democrats would like to blunt that by shutting down government. But again, the group that loses big would be the military, and we're never letting our military lose at any point. We are going to fund our military. We're going to have a military like we've never had before, because we've just about never needed our military more than now. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Could happen. We'll see what happens. It's up to the Democrats.
Mr. President, has you been involved on border security?
Just there, he was asked about whether or not his views had evolved on immigration. Just as he was stepping in, didn't answer that question. But the bulk of his statement had to do with this looming deadline, the shutting down of the government at midnight on Friday, and the debate that's taking place over that. I think what's very interesting about that is that, you know, he suggested that the Democrats would be responsible for a shutdown if it would happen, and he talked about the need to fund the military. That was also the bulk of what he had to say. But it is Republicans, it's the military hawks within the Republican Party that are the ones that are unhappy about this temporary spending bill, that are the ones that don't want to vote in favor of it because they don't think the military is getting enough financial support. It is not the Democrats that are up in arms specifically about the military.
Look, at the end of the day, both parties have issues, and it's not going to necessarily be one or the other. In fact, as we talked about earlier, this could, for most Americans, lead many to think that it's both parties that can't seem to reach a compromise on that. The president basically saying what he's been saying for quite some time, which is our military is important, the military is powerful. I thought it was interesting you saw Chief of Staff John Kelly there with him. The Chief of Staff has been in the news over the last 24 hours for saying that the president's views on the wall had evolved from the time that he was a candidate for the presidency. Seemingly to suggest that the president was uninformed when he made those suggestions. Meanwhile, the president took to Twitter this morning to contradict the Chief of Staff and said that very plainly and clearly that the wall is the wall and that Mexico is going to pay for the wall in some form or another. So not a lot of clarity from the President of the United States as to where he stands on the issues, other than to say that he supports the military.